What is going on, guys? Today we have some breaking bowling ball news. As the #1 source for showing discontinued bowling balls on the internet, completely coined term by myself because nobody else does this for some reason. Make sure to subscribe so that you can stay notified when your newest and favorite bowling ball gets discontinued. We have 3 bowling balls that were discontinued today from Storm Products International. So earlier in the month, we had 17 Brunswick balls get discontinued. We didn't really have any Motive balls get discontinued in March. However, we have 3 Storm bowling balls that were discontinued. Now, you can calm down a little bit. There aren't any crazy ones on this list. They're ones that you just kind of forget about a little bit, but let's get into which ones got discontinued. Remember, what this means is that you can still purchase the bowling balls. I did check, they all are still out on Bowler's Mart, BowlerX, bowling.com, whatever it may be. You can buy these from your local pro shops yet and from online retailers, but it means the quantity is limited, so the price is either going to go up or it's going to either go down. It depends on the popularity of the ball. Based on these, there's going to be one of them that I think might bump up a little bit, but the other ones, the price is probably going to decrease by a little bit. But let's get into what the bowling balls are. We're starting with Storm on this one. We have 1 Storm ball and 2 Rotogrip bowling balls. Storm bowling, we have the Lightning Blackout is officially gone, honestly, kind of finally. Now, I'm a little surprised though. This ball only came out in May, middle of May. I thought it's been out a lot longer than that, so it wasn't the greatest release time, right before the summer starts. Not many people are bowling in the summer that often, so it was kind of unfortunate timing for this ball. And really what ended up knocking this ball down was the price of it. So it came out at $190 retail when it first got released. And this bowling ball has one of the smallest cores in bowling. It has basically a hustle core, except the cover stock of it is the REX cover stock. That's the one that's on the Infinite Physics, was on the Dark Code, is on a ton of really, really good bowling balls that Storm has released in the last 5 or so years. And so this one had a massive, massive core, tiny, tiny cover. So it was really just a hustle with a massive core on it. And then they priced it at $190. Now, the interesting thing was this was one of the most unique bowling balls on the market. I will give Storm that 100%. This was one of the most unique bowling balls. However, it just didn't really catch people's interest because if you want a ball this week, at the point you could buy the IQ Ruby, you could buy a High Road Pearl or now a Road Warrior. You had a lot of other options besides the Lightning Blackout, which was so pricey. Now, later on, the price got decreased because a lot of people were putting it on sale for about $140-ish. $140 was really, really good for it at the end of the day. I think $140 to $155 to $160 was the right price point. So I think this one was just unfortunately overpriced, which caused its demise. This ball was actually pretty good, like actually talking about the bowling ball and not the other extra stuff. Ball was actually pretty decent. Really, really good house shot bowling ball because the cover stock blended the wet dry because it was so strong, but the core still wanted to finish down lane when you got it to the dry, but not overreact. So it was actually a really good bowling ball. Now, the one thing we do on this channel is we don't just tell you this, we show you what you can replace the ball with if you really like this ball, which is really unfortunate for me to say because I don't have anything. At the end of the day, the Lightning Blackout is so unique and so weird that there is not a ball on the market that actually reacts similar to this Lightning Blackout. Now, the core is super tiny, so you could say, well, what about one of the Hustles? Or what about like an Ivory Rhino from Brunswick or like a Max Thrill Pearl? Well, yes, but those balls don't have the strong cover stock. You don't really see cover core mismatches that often, especially you don't see them with this tiny of a core and that strong of a cover. So really, this ball is a unicorn at the end of the day. This is the only one on the market similar to it. So if you do want to have a bowling ball with a very, very unique reaction, honestly be one of the few who has it. I barely see this bowling ball anymore. I have barely seen it go down the lanes in the last 3 months. If you want to be someone who has it, you can go check it out. I assume this price is going to continue decreasing before they're gone for good. I don't know if this ball had many fans at the end of the day. I think it was kind of okay at times. Chris Barnes probably sold a few because he did well with it at PBA 50 event, but otherwise, probably not much. Now, that's the Storm bowling ball. Let's go to Rotogrip. These are a little weird. These are very, very weird. 2 hustles are getting discontinued. The Hustle Rip and the Hustle BRY. So a shiny solid Hustle and then a hybrid shiny Hustle. The Rip surprisingly has been out for almost 2 years. It came out in June of 23. The BRY, not as likely. It came out in April of 24. So that one didn't even make it a year, where the Rip almost made it about a year and 3/4. So really, really good run. What does this mean? So let's talk about the Hustle line and what Rotogrip generally does with this line. Usually, Rotogrip has 2 to 4 hustles in production at all times. They usually have a dull solid, they have sometimes a shiny solid, and then they have a hybrid and a pearl. At a bare minimum, they have the dull solid and the shiny pearl, which is what they have now, and they're getting rid of the other 2. But other times, they have up to 4 hustles in line at the same time. So I don't know how they choose which hustles stay and go. There's a few that surprisingly stay, like the Hustle USA. I don't think that ball was good at all. However, it stayed forever, which was surprising. I don't know if that was because it sold well, because it was red, white, and blue, or whatever it may be. But these ones probably just were not selling enough. The interesting thing with the Rip is that this is a remake of that original Hustle Inc., which is one of the easily the most beloved Hustle in all of history. That ball was loved by everybody. One of my teammates was just throwing it today at a tournament. So very surprising to see that one not do very well. If you do want to pick up one of these 2 hustles, I would recommend the Rip. I think the Rip is really good. The BRY looks really good too, but as I show on the next screen, you can replace both of them with a Hustle M&M. Simple as that. The Hustle M&M is the one that's still in production. That one is a pearl. So if you want to have a Hustle BRY reaction, I'd say just look at the M&M. They're very, very close. Now, the Rip is a little bit different because it is a shiny solid. So you'll have to drill the M&M a little bit differently to get that same reaction. Kind of interesting though. So what is Rotogrip going to do next? I have a wild harebrained idea and theory. This is me putting my tinfoil hat on, but I believe that Rotogrip is going to be making AI core hustles in the near future. And they are trying to get rid of all the non-AI core hustles, because if you look at the Storm products line, there are very few bowling balls in production that don't have AI core tech on them. They are the IQ Tour, the Phase 2, the High Road, and the Hustles. Those are the only balls in production right now that don't have that AI core in them. So I believe what Rotogrip's trying to do is get rid of those old hustles, put out new hustles with AI core technology, try to amp it up, because I believe the AI core tech is a little bit cheaper to make in the factory, which is really good, and a little bit quicker, which would be awesome. So that's why they're trying to put it on everything. I could see that this is not based on any fact or anything. This is purely theory, purely just whatever I think of. I hope to see that. It'd be kind of cool. But that would partially make sense of why they're getting rid of a couple hustles. Now, as you saw with the release dates too, Hustle line generally gets released between April and June-ish. So that's usually the slowest time for bowling ball sales. So that's when you see a lot of entry-level stuff coming out. So that's probably when you're going to see new hustles get announced, between April and June. So be ready for that. If you're a hustle fan, I'd wait just a couple months and you might have a new one on your doorstep. But with that, those are the 3 Storm bowling balls that are now discontinued. Remember, they are still in stores. You can still buy them at your pro shop. You can still buy them from Bowler's Mart, Bowler X. However, there is a limited quantity. So once they're gone for good. Be aware of that. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, by the way. It helps me out a ton. Make sure to subscribe so that you can be the first in the world to know when these bowling balls get discontinued. Otherwise, I will see you on the next one.